This podcast features mortgage banker Cindy Vandiver, NMLS 164102. That's Stockton Mortgage, NMLS 8259, Equal Housing Lender. Views and opinions expressed are those of Ms. Vandiver and do not necessarily reflect those of Stockton Mortgage. Ms. Vandiver's information should not be considered to be legal or tax advice.
You are now entering the Twilight Zone. This is April Rooks with RE/MAX Center, your trusted real estate agent in North Georgia. And with me today is Cindy Vandiver with Stockton Mortgage.
Hi, April. Great to be here.
Hey, Cindy. Yes, good to see you today.
Thank you.
Cindy, you have something to share with us today.
Yes. This happened a couple years ago. Crazy. We're at a closing, and one party of the seller decided to not sell the property at closing. They were a husband-wife in the middle of getting divorced, so it was kind of a very hot, emotional kind of time. And they left the closing room at the attorney's office, went outside, proceeded to have a huge altercation. The police were called, and we were not sure that they would even close.
Oh, my goodness.
About an hour and a half later, I think everybody cooled down and we were able to close. But that was probably the craziest thing that we've had happen in a closing.
Yep, that sounds pretty crazy. Well, in that vein, today we are going to talk about new beginnings, trying to recover from 2020, because I know that the real estate world was crazy, but the whole world was a bit crazy. And so we thought this was a really relevant conversation. And as we're in the month of January now, in a brand new year in 2021, I know that many of us have goals. We have, projections. We have things that we want to make happen this year. And, but what's important, I think, is to always to take time to reflect. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we learned from 2020. I don't know about you, but I learned a few things, Cindy.
Yes, me too. Learned how to multitask, learned how to work from home in a house full of people. My daughter has a business as well, so she's packaging T-shirts behind me as I'm trying to take an application, so that was fun and interesting. The mortgage industry was absolutely turned upside down on its head. We all had to adjust. We all had to think of new ways to do things, improve our processes, work remotely. So it was quite fun.
Yes. And I certainly would say that I learned, a few things personally and professionally. From a personal perspective, I think I really began to see, the value in the simple things again, because sometimes I believe that we kind of get lost in, all of the craziness and the noise. And so to just have a moment to be quiet and reflect. And, but I did learn how to adjust in working at home with a toddler, a very demanding one at that.
She's precious, though.
She is. But I'll tell you that I don't think there was a Zoom call where she wasn't shouting from the bathroom some things that I'm not going to say today, but it never failed that when I had a Zoom call or was on a call, there was always some sort of potty emergency or something happening. And as you know, if you're a parent, every time that you are, on the phone, they suddenly want your attention.
Exactly. They do.
Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. I also learned how to use Zoom because honestly, I don't think I've really used Zoom that much, maybe just on a wild occasion.
Right.
But I think I learned my interweb skills increased a little bit.
I think everybody learned a little bit of that, right?
Yes, whether it was against my will or not. But yeah, that was definitely something that I learned from last year. But I also continue to grow and learn the value of relationships. And that's what this show is really about, is that we aren't here just for another transaction. That my business as a realtor, your business as a lender, is to focus on relationships and focus on helping people.
Yes.
And coming from a place of the heart.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so that's definitely something that, that it was a takeaway for me in 2020 and being in the real estate industry. And I'm very, very thankful for that. Well, today we want to give you a market forecast because we are in the beginning of 2021. People are wondering, people are asking questions. From this past year, we have had an all-time high of sale prices. We've had an all-time low of
inventory
inventory and an all-time low of interest rates. So what's going to happen, right? I think that's
I think a lot of people are wondering that.
Yeah. All of the realtors, I believe, are asking the same thing. We're like, well, where are things going to go? And I will tell you right now, we are still looking at a low inventory, really all over North Georgia. I think that people are still experiencing this really across the United States.
I had a conversation actually today with my regional manager, and they were talking about the number of listings in Kentucky. Kentucky is where Stockton Mortgage is headquartered out of, and they have a board of realtors that cover 40 counties, and their listings from 2019 to 2020 were half. Like their normal listing rate is around 10,000. And I think in November of 2020, the listings that they had over 40 counties was like 1,800.
Wow.
Down from normal as being 8,000 to 10,000.
Yes.
And so I think that's indicative across the country.
Yes, absolutely. And so we're still seeing that right now. And so according to Forbes, we're going to stay in the seller's market for at least the foreseeable future. However, as we get later into 2021, we're going to start seeing the inventory increase. So that will shift things a little bit, and we'll see, if things kind of then maybe go into a buyer's market later in the year.
That's really good news for people who are trying to find property now.
Absolutely. I'm working with quite a few buyers, and we're just kind of hanging out, because there's very little. And especially if you're in certain brackets of, price ranges, then, you're looking at very, very little options.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So we're looking at that. But we're going to see some shifts and some other things too. That's not going to be the best thing. I know right now, they're saying that there will be an increase in the interest rates at some point.
We are seeing the market movement now. Since the election, or right before the election, the market has been posturing and increasing. We've seen more movement over the last couple weeks. So we expect to see that continue really until the stock market kind of levels out, till some of the world economy issues level out and the political issues kind of simmer down. We expect a lot of volatility in the interest rates.
Sure. So just be prepared that we are going to see some changes. As we just said, we are going to see the inventory start to increase later in 2021, and then we're going to start to see the interest rates go up along with that, which is going to then impact our millennials and our Generation Z, in a big way, because they're going to be looking at higher prices of homes and
higher interest rates.
Yes. So what that tells us is that if you are looking to purchase or to sell right now, or really both, this is an amazing time to do so.
Yes, it is. Now is the time.
Yes. Yeah. So we would encourage you to think about that if you're looking at making some changes, because as we, just with traditionally with any of the industry, once the interest rates go up, then of course, then that affects buyers in a more negative way. And so right now, if you can sell and then you've got good buyers with good interest rates, really everybody wins.
Everybody wins.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I would say and this happens a lot, people who are selling, I would really recommend that they go ahead and get pre-qualified. So when they're ready to buy and their house is under contract, that they can move quickly.
Yes, that's definitely true. You don't want to sell your house and
not have nowhere to go
and not be able to purchase.
Yes.
If you're wanting to. So definitely
with mom and dad.
Yeah. Move back in with mom and dad. There you go. Okay. We're going to move on to the next one because nobody wants to do that.
That's right.
I'm kidding. But so the other thing that we're going to see continue to increase, we're already seeing it, the end of last year is an increase in new construction. So they're saying it's going to be a 9% increase.
That's fabulous.
Yes.
That'll help the inventory issue.
Yes, it definitely will. And I think that as we see more and more of that happening, we'll find that. We're finding that more people are buying land. So right now it's expensive to build, however.
It is.
But maybe we'll start to see some of the building costs decrease next year. I know that there was a shortage of lumber for a while, so lumber had tripled in price, and so that was
right.
Contributing to the high cost of building new construction. So as we maybe kind of see some of that level out this year, then the new construction and the building and people wanting to build for themselves on their land will be a positive step forward as well.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot more inquiries on construction loans.
Yes, yes. And so that's great. So you guys do construction loans?
We do.
Yeah.
We have a couple of options there on the construction side, and we have some options on new mobile home construction programs. We have a really good program for the new mobile homes if you want to set up your own mobile home on your own land.
Wonderful.
We got you covered.
Yeah, and we're having some people do that are purchasing land. They're looking at mobile home manufactured homes and some of the new
the modular homes.
Yeah,
are
modular
beautiful.
homes. They are gorgeous. Absolutely they are. So those are good, alternatives for people that are looking as well and right now. So that's good to know for you listeners out there if you need a good lender, someone that's local, someone that you can trust and that offers a new construction loan and even the modular and mobile homes, then Cindy is your gal. You can give her a call. And so I'm April Rooks. I'm with RE/MAX Center here with Cindy Vandiver with Stockton Mortgage today. And we're just enjoying ourselves on this show and with all of our corny jokes but with all this great information and talking about a new year and what we're looking at. So one of the things that's so important when you're looking at new beginnings and that where you're wanting to maybe purchase a home or you're, kind of wanting to have a fresh start is sometimes people are in a situation where they've had to file bankruptcy from a number of reasons.
Yes.
But there's hope, right?
There is hope. There is hope. And when I run into somebody who has filed bankruptcy, we pull the credit, we get the information about what the circumstances were that drove them to file bankruptcy. And a lot of times I'm like, if I had only known before you filed bankruptcy or right after you filed bankruptcy, I could give you some tricks and some tips that can rebound your credit like quickly, very quickly. So a lot of the times when somebody goes into bankruptcy, they just don't know this stuff and they just give up and they don't understand that it's just a temporary thing, If you file bankruptcy, you can go in and you can finance a house 2 years after that.
Yeah.
So that's a very
Most people
short
don't know
period of
that.
time. Most people don't know that. And when you go in and you file bankruptcy and you've got to list all your liabilities on the little sheet for the petitioner so they can see what you owe, what assets you have. If you pick one or two of those liabilities and reaffirm that debt and go through the process, fill out the paperwork to reaffirm it. Because if you don't officially reaffirm it, then it's not reported on your credit report. So you don't get any credit for those payments. So definitely reaffirm one or two liabilities on your bankruptcy, and then immediately, and I know you're going to cringe, but immediately get a credit card. Because the credit bureaus, they love to see you manage revolving credit. So I tell people, just get a credit card, put a tank of gas on it a month, and pay it down to a few dollars balance. Make sure you pay at least the minimum payment, but pay that 7 to 10 days early so it'll be reflected on your credit report. And doing those two things can keep your credit score at a high level, rebuild your credit after bankruptcy, and you'll be set in 2 years to buy a house.
Those are wonderful tips. Yes. So if you're in that position where you've had to file bankruptcy in the past, or you're thinking about, hey, we might be looking at needing to do this with our situation, give Cindy a call, because she can help you on either side of the fence of where you're at, and going forward, as she just said. And I'm sure she'd love to spend some time with you and so that you can put a plan in place for your future. So how would they get in touch with you, Cindy?
They can reach out to me on Facebook, Cindy Vandiver on Facebook, or they can call me at the office at 706-219-2500.
Wonderful. Well, I think that this is a great time that all of us are looking at goals, and maybe you have some real estate goals. And so maybe, again, you were in a situation before where you sold a house, maybe you're renting, maybe you had to file bankruptcy and you're at 2 years or more. And you say, gosh, well, this is a good time and a good year for me to set these goals and to be able to make a goal in buying or selling a home that you have. Maybe you're making some different goals. So let's talk a little bit about goals and what that could look like for 2021, because I know that we have some goals as well. I think some good goals to look at beyond just buying or selling a home is also looking at education.
Yes.
Which is, again, what our goal of this show, From the Heart and Soul show, is about educating the North Georgia community about real estate, right?
Yes.
And being those trusted resources to provide you with that education. So we're part of that. So you can listen to our show anytime. And then we're happy to educate you on, the all things real estate. Also, educating yourself in different ways. So, of course, there's a lot of great books. Dave Ramsey writes, some great material on debt-free and different things that he can educate you on. A great real estate educator that we actually were just talking about earlier, and I was listening to this morning, is Robert Kiyosaki.
Yes.
He does a phenomenal job of educating on real estate and investing. And that's another thing I think that's a good goal. So, investing in real estate is something that we hear a lot about.
Yes.
But I think there's a whole other level of, we always think of our home as our asset. Right. And of course, Robert Kiyosaki will say, unless your home is making you money, it's not really an asset per se.
Right.
What really makes you money is your asset. So if you own land or you own properties that will then bring in income, then that becomes a real asset to you. So just educating on, how can I do this? And I think about, I live around the corner from Helen, and I think about these parking lots that these people own and that we have to pay a fortune to park, to walk around Helen or to go eat. and I think, man, that's some valuable land.
That's right.
And especially, of course, during the tourist season and Oktoberfest and all those fun things, but how that land for them is an asset. Because they are making an income off of that property, and so how important that is, and understanding these different levels of real estate investing, and then just what your goals are with real estate. So we would love to hear your goals. If you want to share with us, you can email me at aprilrooksrealty@gmail.com. You can also go to our website, FromTheHeartShow.com, and you can share with us what your goals are and maybe ask questions. We'll be glad to help you with achieving your goals for this year and maybe even the next 2 to 5 years out, because what really is important is that we have a plan, that we make those goals and then we create a plan to achieve those goals.
Exactly.
So let's talk a little bit about maybe a goal that you and I have for this year, because gosh, you've been in the business a long time, and I'm just getting back in this last year and back into the real estate industry. And of course, with the pivot that we've had in the last year, I think that maybe our goals look a little bit different. What's a goal that you have, Cindy, for 2021 in your business?
A lot of my goals have changed over the last probably 12 months, because what I envisioned for 2020 ended up being something totally different, something totally wonderful. I joined Stockton Mortgage in June of last year, and it really has been the best move that I've ever made from a professional standpoint.
That's fantastic.
Yes. So we are in the process of doing a lot more marketing right now, so we can get noticed around the North Georgia area, and your radio show came at a perfect time. to fold in with what we're doing. But we're really trying to reach out to more people on a grander scale to help educate them. So that's it. It was just perfect timing, divine intervention, I think. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, I'm so glad that we were able to connect in a new way, and be able to work together in achieving really the same goal that we have. And beginning this show this year, again, my goal is to be able to become a trusted resource, and that we can be a trusted team here in North Georgia for people that are looking to buy real estate or invest, and that you can help them with all of their lending needs and understanding all of the ins and outs of different mortgages and what's available for them. And we're going to talk so much more on this show about various mortgages and opportunities that you have, whether it's being a veteran, we've talked a little bit about zero down payment loans, and we're just going to continue to talk about those things because education is really key in our lives, in helping our community. And that's what we're here about, right? So,
absolutely.
And speaking of helping our community, now we're going to talk a little bit about our local heroes and from the heart moment of the show. This last year has been incredibly hard for all of our communities here in Georgia, North Georgia, and it's been hard all over the world because of the coronavirus. And our healthcare workers are out there every day, and they are putting themselves on the line for everyone and helping in such a magnificent way. And we just want to take a moment to recognize and say how much we value your hard work, your care, and your love that you're giving to everyone here in our community, to our families, to our friends. I know that had some friends personally affected. Still have one of my mom's best friends is in the hospital, and she's been on a ventilator, and it's so I mean, the more that we are having this happen in the community and seeing our hospitals now are over capacity, they're putting them in other wings and just doing everything
they can to get to as many people as they can. And I know they're treating as many people as possible. And some folks are having to go home and do their treatment at home, but they're still, they follow up and they check on them, and it's just a beautiful thing.
Yes. And I will say, even today, my mother's been in the hospital. And so the doctor personally called me today on the phone, which was kind of shocking, right? But you can't go into the hospitals. So I thought, what a wonderful thing that they're having, that the doctors are taking their time to actually call the patient's family.
You and so you understand exactly what condition they are in. And I see so many just heartwarming stories on Facebook on the experiences that people are having with family members in the hospital, and how the nurses and the doctors are going above board to reach out and to take care of these folks. It's just precious.
Yes, and it just shows you the strength of community, that even in some of the most challenging times, that we can come from a place of heart, that we can come from a place of love, and we can come together as a community. And we need to come together now.
Yes, more than ever.
Yes, and come
because the bottom line is family is what's most important.
Right.
No matter everything, what else is going on, family is what's most important, which translates to community.
Yes, we are the human family, right?
Yep.
And so being there for each other and connecting in these times is so important. And so we're just so very grateful for our healthcare heroes today and always, and all that you do for us and our community. Well, we've really enjoyed hanging out with you today on the From the Heart and Soul show. We love our community. We love being a resource for you here. You can find us on Facebook, and as well, also on Instagram.
Yes.
You're on Instagram too. I know you are.
Too, yes.
You can find us there. April Rooks, Realtor, and you've got Cindy Vandiver. She's with Stockton Mortgage. And so it's been a delight to be here sharing information with you today. We want to be your trusted resource as a realtor, as a lender here in the community, and help you with all of your needs. We are going to have another great show. You want to tune in next week. We're going to talk more about real estate tips. We're going to talk more about lending and information that you're going to want to tune in for, and more corny jokes and fun times and about great things happening in our community.
This podcast features mortgage banker Cindy Vandiver, NMLS 164102. That's Stockton Mortgage, NMLS 8259, Equal Housing Lender. Views and opinions expressed are those of Ms. Vandiver and do not necessarily reflect those of Stockton Mortgage. Ms. Vandiver's information should not be considered to be legal or tax advice.